Rococo interiors are going to be very, very similar to the Baroque, but again, we're dialing things back just a little bit. First of all, we're going to see smaller rooms, especially in new Rococo architecture. The reason is they're going to be subdividing those rooms and using them for very specific purposes. Now, comparing that to the Renaissance, and here we're looking at two floor plans, what you see is multi-purpose large rooms, such as the long gallery or the stateroom, where we could eat, we could do all sorts of different things. As we move into the Rococo, these rooms are going to take on very different roles. One couple might have, say, 5 different rooms all in the master suite. That's sort of where we're getting that idea from. And those different rooms would be laid out for him and for her. And then we would have their own, I'm going to use the term very loosely, bathroom. We would have a bedroom, we would have a dressing room, we would have these different rooms laid out, each one with a very specific purpose. The idea of a multifunction room is falling apart, basically, as we move into the Rococo. Now, these smaller, more human-scale rooms were designed to enhance feminine beauty and feminine ideas, which we see a lot during this period. And it doesn't mean that the women are designing it. It means that the fashion simply becomes more feminine, and so they're drawing in those ideas. In terms of flooring, we see the use of wood floors in the form of parquet floors, where we see different pieces of wood laid in a pattern using their grain to set them apart. We will see rugs primarily from the Middle East, Persian rugs, but we'll also see them from new factories that are being developed in the south of France that are producing sort of a French version of these Persian rugs. And then in high traffic or very public areas, we will see the use of marble and other stone. We typically see a lot of relief sculpture in the Rococo, but it tends to be low relief. So we see less of that theatricality, less of the drama of light and shadow compared to what we saw in the Baroque. And we see the Boissere panels. Now, these were typical of the period. These are ornate vertical wood panels that had intricately carved designs, sometimes centered or at the top and bottom, centered in a molding rather than all around. Although the panel sides were generally straight, the tops and bottoms were more often formed by strong, somewhat asymmetrical curves. Small moldings outlined the panels not only on the walls, but on doors and furniture. The backs of seating furniture were often shaped to match the panels in the room. So you would see a chair with a similar carved pattern in it to the paneling that you would see. So we've got these vertical panels, oftentimes slightly asymmetrical. From this distance, it's hard to make it out, but because they're hand carved and because of the style of the Rococo, we often see something that's going to be somewhat asymmetrical. And of course, we have this open panel. So what do you do with it? Well, in the Rococo, you can hang things here. You would see mirrors or relief as we see here, or you would paint them in the Turkish form, or what they refer to as the Turkish style. But you're looking at images that tend to be, well, what they would term Oriental. At the time, the idea of the Middle East is very foreign, very attractive, because we tend to be attracted to those things of which we understand very little. So we'll see images that romanticize the idea of the Turkish harem or the Turkish sultan or the Bedouins who are trading throughout the desert. And we see some of those images here painted into these various panels, but we have a very busy decorative scheme. The difference is the Baroque tends to be very over the top. Here, they've taken the same ideas, the same theatricality, but they've subdued it with the addition of the pastel colors compared to the very bright, dramatic colors that we tend to see in the Baroque.